What's going on, everybody? I'm Danny Thompson. Super excited to be here with all of y'all. Uh, Honestly, really excited for today. We have two amazing speakers that are going to be doing lightning talks with us, Roman Jaquez and Ramkumar Arunamoorthy. And one of the cool things about today is after these lightning talks, we actually have several Googlers that will be joining us and guiding us through the hands-on study jam that we'll be doing, as well as guiding you through hands-on learning and explaining how you can approach these problems. But the best part of all of this is by completing the study jams today, you will have access to the platform for a full month. So even afterwards, you'll be able to learn, do things, and keep growing within this area, even well after today. So trying to make sure that you have the resources to continue growing, especially in the skill set that you want the most, right? So without further ado, I want to introduce Roman and Ramkumar and let them give you a high-level overview of what they'll be talking about today. Roman, why don't you start?
Let's do this again. Hey, Danny, thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation. Just wanted to say, great, amazing event. I'm going to be talking about serverless backends on the Google Cloud platform. It's not just going to be like a hype word. We just want to know what this is, what serverless means to you, whether it works for you. So I'm very excited to share those experiences with everybody. Thank you.
Ramkumar.
Okay, so as you guys know, like I work as a site reliability engineer for Thomson and Reuters, been with Google, the system for almost 3 years as a Google mentor for East Canada region, and started a small community for Toronto and grew up to 3,000. So I'm going to share the secret with you guys through StudyJam.
Love that. And I think without further ado, we can let Roman handle the first talk, and then we will be back for our second talk with Ramkumar.
Sweet. Can you guys see my screen? Can I just get a thumbs up from anybody? Perfect. Okay, let's proceed. So again, thank you, everyone. Hi. Welcome to this session about serverless backends on the GCP. My name is Roman Jaquez. I'm a Flutter GDE. I'm a Google Cloud certified architect, and I'm a GDG organizer and mentor. I personally feel very connected to this specific topic because it has allowed me as a solo developer to be able to publish Flutter applications, mobile applications with a very robust backend in a short period of time, but without compromising quality, security, or performance, and future-proofing my applications by keeping scalability in mind. So what is serverless, you ask? This term has been very misused a bit in the industry. Serverless is a cloud-native development model that allows developers to build and run applications without having to manage servers. Let's clarify that misconception. There are still servers in serverless, but they are abstracted away from application development. Once deployed, serverless applications respond to demand and automatically scale up and down as needed. So why is it called serverless? The short answer is the developer or the person who deals with the business logic does not need to be concerned with doesn't need to be concerned with the server. The service provider handles all that for you. It does all the heavy lifting. In our case, of course, is Google. Leveraging serverless increases developer productivity and time to market. Serverless architecture not only improves the time to market, but offers optimal resource management, allowing startups to focus on their product development. Leveraging serverless, in turn, increases developer productivity. You only focus on your application code. No more tedious maintenance tasks that aren't specific to your problem. So how do you know whether serverless is for you? Serverless is a great option for most projects most of the time. You save configuration and maintenance time, you gain flexibility, and save more money per request than building your own servers. You can determine whether serverless is for you if you don't want to manage your own servers. The main benefit of serverless is that you don't deal with servers. They're somebody else's problem. You want to pay as you go. Serverless can be cheaper to run, and you only pay when your code is running and build down to the millisecond. When there's no traffic, there's no code, period. There's no cost at all, period. Quick time to market. One of the most popular strategies for rolling out a web or a mobile app is by building a minimum viable product or MVP. And then you incrementally add features on it over time. So serverless plays very well in this particular scenario. There's the highest developer productivity. Why? Because smaller, more self-contained code, ideally like a single function, brings clarity and focus, which allows for easier testing, quicker understanding, and shorter developer cycles. Serverless sits on one side of the spectrum of all of the Google platform offerings, more towards dynamic infrastructure. The more you move to the right, then the more is being taken care for you. So you're giving up control over convenience. The industry has seen a huge shift from monolithic, slow-moving applications towards more distributed, event-based, serverless applications built on top of a microservices architecture based on lightweight, single-purpose functions while managing underlying infrastructure that was actually a thing of the past. So now we need to move forward with the current times. Under GCP, you have everything you need to build and scale. This is what I call a one-stop shop. From compute to machine learning, the Google Cloud Platform allows you to securely deliver services to your users with speed and reliability, all in Google Cloud's infrastructure. You can build end-to-end applications by leveraging services across databases, storage, messaging, data analytics, machine learning, smart assistants, and more without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. But the best serverless solution will allow you to run a broad spectrum of apps without language, networking, or even regional restrictions. I can tell you by personal experience as a solo developer, or let's say are you a small developer? You are a small startup. Grow from prototype to production without having to think about capacity, reliability, or performance, and of course, being conscious about your budget. Other features that a serverless ecosystem benefits startups and solo developers are like rapid auto scaling from and to zero, the option of pay-per-use billing models, as well as low barriers of entry through simplicity. Let me show you a few use cases in which you can picture your project being implemented as a serverless architecture on the GCP. For example, do you have a web application? Do you want to host it? You want it to be accessed by multiple clients globally, serving both dynamic and static content? Well, you can leverage Google Cloud Run, which is Google's next frontier of development and deployment of highly scalable containerized applications on a fully managed serverless platform. You can host your assets on a cloud storage bucket. You can serve them via Cloud Run, where it containerizes your web server, for example, like Nginx, Django, Express.js, whatever have you. You can also host your web app using Firebase hosting and also run it on top of GCP. All serverless, no need to manage a single server. Try this one, for example. Let's say you have a podcast and you want to process your audio files. You want to extract metadata from them, save them in the cloud, serve them through your website, convert them to text, convert like the audio to text and stuff, etc. You can, for example, upload them to a cloud storage bucket, which will trigger a notification to a distributed messaging queue system such as Cloud PubSub, which then in turn triggers a cloud function to go and fetch your audio file, process it, extract the metadata. Let's say then after that, you want to save all that information, all that metadata in a highly scalable and distributed document and collection-based NoSQL database such as Firebase Cloud Firestore. All serverless. No need to manage a single server. How about, let's say you want to host your own microservices in the cloud? Well, you can host your mobile apps backend in an individual cloud function or multiple cloud functions if you want, each running in a separate runtime if you like, for example, Python, Node.js, Go, .NET, with encrypted communication in which you can only pay when the function runs and scales up and down as traffic increases and fetch the data from, let's say, Firestore and whatnot. All serverless, no need to manage a single server. How about an app that requires a user authentication using many third-party providers such as Google, Twitter, Facebook, Microsoft, whatever have you, or just email and password, for example? Kind of like a social media app, let's say. How would you do it? Well, You can leverage Firebase authentication, which allows you to, with very few lines of code, guarantee that your users are authenticated, give them the ability to make calls into your APIs, pull data from Cloud Firestore. Then let's say you can store the images and recording to cloud storage. And upon your users storing their media, then a cloud pops up notification listening to files being stored in cloud storage, then triggers a cloud function. You see the pattern? All serverless without managing a single server. Last but not least, how about hosting your chatbots and conversational actions that you can access via devices like the Google Nest family of smart home devices? Well, Dialogflow gives you webhooks that you can connect to existing Google Cloud functions, which contains the code to power the capabilities of your conversational user interfaces. All serverless without managing a single server. And the best thing, you can learn all this via the many cloud study jams being held across the GDG chapters in the community. I personally recommend the following ones, which can tackle serverless in particular, and you can use the Quick Labs learning platform, which gives you hands-on experience in these cutting-edge technologies. In conclusion, serverless computing has been one of the most beneficial advances in modern software development because it has enabled the next generation of developers to come online faster and with less friction. This is an extremely exciting time to be in the world of application development, and I'm really excited and looking forward to see what you all create in the serverless ecosystem provided by GCP. Again, thank you all for joining this session, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the event. Thank you so much, everybody.
That was awesome. I think you touched on a lot of like really key things. And so I guess one question that I particularly have is what would be some like key things that if somebody's just getting into serverless right now, like the top like 3 things that they should even be like spending some time looking at?
It all depends, for example, on the case by case, let's say your particular project. But usually people gravitate more towards, let's say, leveraging cloud functions or even doing like Cloud Run. Cloud Run is like the next frontier of serverless infrastructures where you can just bundle your code and without managing any servers, you can just upload it and it runs, it already scales it, effectively. It keeps it available all the time. So you can start small. The first thing that I would suggest is, for example, like exploring cloud functions, because that gives you then the lowest barrier of entry, and then you can learn about the cloud. Then the next thing that you could do is, for example, do Cloud Run, which is now pulling all your application, publishing your whole application as a container. But again, all that is taken care of for you. You only focus on your code. You only focus on providing a great user experience, and Google does the heavy lifting for you. I think you're muted. There you go.
So I was going to say that I know like with cloud, there's tons of possibilities, especially with serverless. And I know you personally, you even utilize Flutter to a degree and combining that technology with cloud. What would you say is like something that you find very valuable in the aspect of leveraging cloud technologies with Flutter technology?
Great. Again, Flutter is Google's open source framework for developing great natively compiled applications with one single code base. But then now this is just like the front end. But then Flutter needs to be paired up with a very robust backend, which, like, let's say, Google Cloud Platform can only provide it. Of course, you can look at other providers, but Google Cloud and Flutter, they're like the best match made. So then I would suggest those of you guys are out there, let's say, doing Flutter mobile, web, or desktop applications to leverage the Google Cloud, because it gives you already available SDKs that you can immediately tap into the cloud with the minimum amount of code, and then it allows you to put your applications out there the quickest. So I would definitely recommend people looking at Cloud Functions, Firebase, which has like great SDKs so that you can just add them into your Flutter applications and immediately ramp up very easily.
Love that. Roman, thank you so much for being a part of this. You've been a great help. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
No problem. And we lost Ramkumar. Ramkumar, I need you to rejoin the backstage link. So in the meantime, covering a couple things. So Roman, amazing talk. Really, really loved that. And we're going to be covering several different items within Ramkumar's talk with things to kind of look for during this event. While Ramkumar is getting his backstage link, we have Margot Barron. Margot, would you want to start presenting now? And we can wait for Ramkumar to come back?
Happy to do whatever's easiest. Let me start. Yeah, I'm happy to.
Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. So, Margot, just to kind of give them an idea, what do you plan to cover within your talk so that way they can have an idea of what you're going to be discussing?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Margot. I'm on the Google Cloud Certification Offer team. And today I will be discussing Google Cloud certifications, our credential portfolio, and where to get started.
Awesome. And please, everybody, please make sure that you stick around. After this, we will be getting into Ramkumar's talk and then straight into the Cloud Study Chat. So the floor is yours, Margot.
Perfect. Let me share my screen. Perfect. Starting your Google Cloud certification journey. Again, my name is Margot. I am the lead for certification and skill badge offers here at Google Cloud. I have been at Google for a little under 7 years and with Google Cloud for a little under 4 years. So what we will be chatting through today, let me go to the next slide. So today I will be touching on the demand for cloud computing roles, as much of you know, talking through our learning resources and Google Cloud certifications, explaining how Google Cloud certifications pay off, and then answer any of your questions to the best of my ability. So again, what are the demands for cloud computing roles? So as we all know, cloud skills are very critical to enabling customer success and fueling our ecosystem. Over 90% of IT leaders expect to expand their cloud services within the next 1 to 3 years. And over 80% of these individuals have identified a lack of internal skills and knowledge, meaning that those entering the workforce within cloud computing or those currently in there, the IT leadership is seeing a gap in what the job role is needing versus the skill sets currently on the job role. And now what we know is that cloud skills are critical to enabling customer success and fueling our ecosystem. So just alone job postings featuring cloud skills grew around 41% between the first quarter of 2019 to the first quarter of 2021. We're not seeing a decline in the demand for cloud skills as we are continually moving to a flexible work environment. Cloud computing is needed even more now than ever. Specifically for Google Cloud, we help enable customer success. And so Google Cloud specifically skills are in high demand, commanding the top 2 paying IT certifications in 2021 in the United States. And this comes from the largest IT skills and salaries survey launched by Global Knowledge. If you're interested in reading the report, it's very interesting. And as a third party, it goes through all of the top IT certification programs, the demand for cloud skills, the need for skills and certifications, and then ranks per region, and then for the top 10 different certifications per region. Now, how do you build the skills to get the most out of these powerful technologies? We have seen with COVID that we are needing to take a new approach to learning. We're needing to equip ourselves with the right skills to help fill this skills gap that we had previously just talked about. Traditionally, IT training has largely been centered around one piece of technology, but cloud technology requires a whole new way of learning. It's no longer about just learning and operating the technology. It requires a change of mindset. Google Cloud training specifically can help you understand how to use this technology within a specific job function to specifically build cloud solutions that drive cross-functional success. And we have role-based learning to help you thrive in the cloud-first world that we are currently living in. So let's do a deep dive of what these learning resources involve and take a deeper dive into our Google Cloud certification portfolio. So Google Learning provides a comprehensive curriculum, customizable depending on where you are in your journey. We combine a range of tools to deliver learning across different modalities. And this basically means that we have a ton of different kinds of learning, of different ways in for all the different types. We have instructor-led training, which is delivered by our authorized training partners, which is high-quality content. And this can be done within a classroom or within a virtual classroom. We have on-demand content, so pre-filmed, where you can learn anytime, anywhere. We have hands-on training, where you can practice with Google Cloud technologies, basically getting hands-on experience within a GCP environment. And then we have our Google Cloud certifications to help benchmark your route of your and help validate your cloud skills. Now, I did want to talk about a specific new product that launched mid last year, which falls within our hands-on bucket of learning, and it is called Google Cloud Skill Badges. Now, Google Cloud Skill Badges fall seamlessly within our curated learning paths, and prescribed learning journeys help make it easier for our learners to quickly access and surface content relevant to their job roles of interests. Skill Badges specifically provide incremental achievements along these paths to certification. So what are we looking at on this slide? So our training website, which can be found on the bottom right-hand corner, has been broken out into specific learning paths to help you on your learning journey, and it's divided into specific pillars. I just picked one, for instance, that lead to our Associate Cloud Engineer certification, specifically within the infrastructure modernization pillar. And then roles that are related to this are cloud admins and cloud engineers. And what it does so nicely is it maps out all of the different types of learning modalities that I had just discussed in a start to end format. And so what we have is our in-person virtual led trainings or on-demand trainings, followed by our practice, which is where skill badges fall into. And so what we'll see is that there are 4 skill badges that currently map into our Associate Cloud Engineer. Now you may be asking yourself, what is a skill badge? I have never heard of this before. And so when you are poking around in Skills Boost, which is powered by our Quick Labs platform, you'll notice that there are different groupings of labs, which are called skill badge because it's around 6 to 7 lab quest where it's a combo of learning labs with a challenge lab. And so you basically will learn specific skills that you are then tested on within our challenge lab. And what's excellent about this is that after you successfully complete the challenge lab within the skills badge, you are awarded a badge that looks very similar to this. Again, this is the first skill badge that maps into our Associate Cloud Engineer learning path, which is the Create and Manage Cloud Resources skill badge. And so this is the description that you would see on the learning platform, i.e. Skills Boost powered by Quick Labs. And you are able to share this within your credentials section of LinkedIn, as well as share it on your newsfeed. And so we find that this is a great way to help amplify your learning as you are preparing for certifications, because this gamifies what you are learning on your way, and you are able to share out these micro credentials to your team or to your LinkedIn community along your way to certification. So if you're anything like me, I like to be rewarded for my time spent. And so these are a great way to collect and build skills on your way to certification. So let's chat more about certification. Creating a benchmark for success. Google Cloud certification helps bring a framework to help equip our customers and different companies that develop talent for the future. We work with our outside experts to get a realistic view of what the job roles are we are certifying for. These certifications are not just Google Cloud technologies. In fact, the initial stages of designing each certification is product agnostic. And just like the real world, examinees are expected to know the vast array of technologies they may encounter in their day-to-day jobs. In addition, we ensure that the roles and the certifications are truly building skills for the future, so we are constantly updating our certifications regularly to keep pace with technology and the evolutions of each job role. And because the nature of cloud, things change rapidly. We continually engage with people doing these jobs and make sure our exams accurately portray real life. What this means is that you will always have an accurate, up-to-date benchmark to measure your skills along with updated job roles in cloud technology. So this slide features our Google Cloud certification portfolio. You'll notice that we have 3 levels of certification. Our foundational level, which is in the bottom left, is Cloud Digital Leader. This foundational level certification requires no cloud experience needed. This is for individuals who are very new to Google Cloud, cloud technologies, and/or have a tech adjacent role. Our associate level certification, we recommend around 6+ months of experience on GCP. And then our professional levels, well, we have 7 of those, and we recommend 3+ years of industry experience with 1 year of hands-on experience with GCP. So let's deep dive a little further on what we would recommend of where to start your journey, the associate versus professional level certifications. So what you'll notice is that we have our 2 main levels. And so which certification to get, let's break it down this way. Individuals with more hands-on experience who design and implement solutions with business objectives in mind should pursue a professional level certification. Individuals who are new to cloud or new to GCP can get in the game with our associate cloud engineer. It's an excellent entry point into Google Cloud technologies and is an attainable step on the path to any of our professional level certifications. Individuals who work specifically on technical requirements, we recommend should also start with the associate cloud engineer. So what you'll see is that the main difference between our associate level and professional level certifications is that the professional level brings in these business requirements where you're expected to know how to design, plan, and optimize within each of these job roles. Let's give a high-level view of what you can expect when you're taking a Google Cloud certification exam. The exams are, on average, 2 hours, except the Cloud Digital Leader, which is 90 minutes. The exam format is a multiple choice, multiple select. There are no prerequisites, even though we have recommended learning journeys, recommended experience time. There is nothing that you technically need to achieve before getting any of our Google Cloud certifications. And you can take a Google Cloud certification anywhere in the world via our online proctored exam from any remote location, or you can go on site for a proctored exam at our testing center networks, which is a global network of testing centers that you can find on our Google Cloud certification website. As well, we have complimentary study guides. Wiley has published 3 study guides for the professional data engineer and professional cloud architect certification, as well as the associate cloud engineer. And these are great study guides if you wanted extra assistance with additional exam prep and tips, along with additional practice questions. So what's in it for you? Why should you care about Google Cloud certifications, and what do you get? So we ran a recent survey of our Google Cloud certified community conducted by an independent third party, and we heard some incredible pieces of feedback from the market of just how Google Cloud certifications have enabled and boosted their skills for all of the different roles within the cloud industry. 78% of respondents said words like confidence, presence, professionalism, and recognition when talking about their future opportunities about certifying with one of our Google Cloud certifications. 82% of respondents felt proud to have a proof point about their skills and abilities when working with recruiters and job placement consultants. 83% of our respondents told us that they feel more marketable, more attractive, and much more confident in their abilities to stand out from others applying for very similar roles. And finally, 85% of respondents just had the boost of confidence they both wanted and needed to get themselves out there and getting the opportunities they desired. Hearing so many people tell us about the impact on their own career, family, and future helped us understand a few things. Where professionals had seen a gap between what they intended to convey as their skill set and what they could not prove, the Google Cloud certifications really boosted their confidence. Some professionals even told us that the badge within one of our certifications gave them the drive to apply for roles that they may not have previously applied for. And perhaps coolest of all, many professionals reiterated to us that once they got certified, they were keen to tell their networks about Google Cloud certification options. So in short, if you were asking yourself, but what's in it for me, I hope these anecdotal shares and statistics drive home the opportunities. And just additional pinpoints from the IT decision maker, we found that 67% of the IT decision makers within the last 12 months, 67% of them plan to prepare their team members for certification. 93% of this audience agree that certified employees provide added value above those than the cost of the actual certification. And then 63% of our IT decision maker audience says that the economic benefit of certified employees exceeds $10,000 a year. So again, we are seeing the benefit on both sides from the employee and the employer of getting Google Cloud certified. Now, for what everyone really cares about is what are the benefits that you get from getting a Google Cloud certification. Again, you can distinguish yourself with the certified badge and certificate that you will receive upon successful completion. You get exclusive Google Cloud certified swag upon certifying in any of our professional level certifications. You can network and exchange ideas in our newly built Google Cloud certified community and special recognition at select events. And here's hoping that I can see some of you when we can be in person again at these events. So that's all I had for you today. And I can take any questions if there are any.
Yeah, we did have one question. And well, the first question is on the slide of the two paying tech roles. There was a link there that a couple people are looking for, but they couldn't see it because I believe the link was too small. If we can have that link so that way they could check that out for further details, I think that'd be very valuable.
Of course. Let me get the hyperlink and I will send that out to y'all.
Perfect. And one question that I personally have with the Google certifications, I know Google has put a lot behind it to where they're even saying with a lot of certifications, they're recognizing that over other credentials. Do we see this being like a growing trend? Do we see with certifications coming out that we're going to have more subject matters and more emphasis on other areas of technology as well?
Yeah, so we're seeing a huge shift in micro-credentials, and I just shared the link with you, so I'm not sure if you're able to send that out to the participants. Yep. But what we're seeing is that everyone in the industry is coming in with a baseline of previous knowledge, and so employers as well as the IT decision makers are needing valid ways that they can prove that you have the proficiency level to complete a job role. And what we are seeing is that these micro-credentials, which include the skill badges, the completion badges, and our certifications, are an industry benchmark for you being able to complete these specific skills and job roles. And within the micro-credential universe, I think you have the easiest to complete versus the very hardest to complete, where a completion badge you're awarded if you just kind of sit and watch a video. And versus on the very end of the spectrum, you have IT certifications, where this is a proctored exam. This is a business level business case scenario that you have to solve being in that job role. And so with that, the HR managers that we've talked to use these as kind of indicators as to your competency when they are hiring for the job roles. So we're seeing more and more as we do impact analysis on LinkedIn, for example, and other job postings of recommended or required. We are seeing for cloud roles that IT certifications are popping up more and more. And I think there was like a 300% increase quarter over quarter on not just Google Cloud, but in general, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google Cloud IT certifications.
So we have a couple questions that came in, and I believe at one point you mentioned there's a Google Cloud community. Is there a link for that community for people to join?
Yes. So when you get certified, you will get a nice email that says, "Welcome to the Google Cloud Certified community." It is a closed community. So it is available to only those that are certified. And so on your learning journey, when you do want to join, you just need to get certified and you will be given automatic access. And that community will give you free. It'll be the first heads up when a new certification is coming out, cool events, new swag, and you'll of course get really cool swag for participation within the community itself.
Fantastic. And one question that we have here from Roman, where's the link to get the professional cloud certified swag after they've already been certified?
So if you have been certified, you should have received, again, in the same email that you get saying, "Congratulations, you are now a professional cloud whatever." It will send you the link to claim your swag. It will send you the link to sign up for the community. And so what we see a lot of times is that individuals kind of glaze over when they see this really long email. So first recommendation would be, if you haven't received an email, go back in your inbox and check the email that has confirmed that you are certified. And then B, you still cannot find that, on the Google Cloud certification homepage, you're able to email our support team, and you would just need to indicate that you haven't received your swag yet, and then reference your certification ID number, and you'll be set to go.
Perfect. We have this question. Really love the program, love the hands-on. Will this program be working with other companies like Udacity, for example?
That's a really interesting question. So our primary learning platforms at the moment are Coursera and Pluralsight for on-demand content. And then our hands-on is living on Skills Boost, powered by Quick Labs. And so Udacity doesn't have our content currently, but it's definitely not a never. It's just, it's not one of our primary learning platforms right now.
Perfect. I have one cert and I graduate in the winter of next year. Are there any entry-level roles for students? That's not something that we would necessarily have, but I guess certification could be a way that they could emphasize their skill set to possibly land a role.
Within Google?
I mean, just, I guess, in general, in the market in general.
Yeah, for sure. What we are seeing is that the Associate Cloud Engineer is by far the most popular certification within individuals within higher ed, or wanting to take a radical transition within their professional careers. And so what I would recommend is the Associate Cloud Engineer for sure. And then substituting any of the skill badges within the learning journey. Let's say you're interested in cloud development, app modernization, security networking. You can kind of piecemeal, once you have your foundation within a certification, you can piecemeal the specific skill sets that you'd like to show recruiters within the skill badges. And again, you get a JPEG or a picture image from each version of the badges that you earn that you can post on your LinkedIn, as well as your resume and then your email signature.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Margot. I think this was incredible. I think a lot of people got a value out of this, and definitely look forward to looking at what people do with their cloud certifications after this.
Yeah, of course. And my largest recommendation, if you are just like, Margot, I'm really interested, I don't remember anything that you just said within the last 20 minutes, just Google Cloud certifications. You'll get our homepage for the certification program. It has everything that I had just expressed. It goes through the different levels of the certifications, and then you can actually click on each certification type to learn more, and it will have the learning journey and where to get started. So simple enough, Google search our program, and you'll be able to find all of the assets that I had just discussed. But thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. So next person coming up, I'm going to be bringing up Ramkumar. Ramkumar is a GDG organizer. He leads a community and has led several cloud study jams already. Ramkumar, let's see. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. Oh, thank you. And it's a great session by Roman and Margaret. And it's always a challenge when you have great speakers lined up and then you're next. So I want to just change the rhythm of what we're doing right now, right? And spare some lectures here. Before I open up the forum for more of Q&A, that's what we are going to do today. Just a bit of background for people who do not know me, right? Like I started being part of the Google developer ecosystem 3 years ago. I was reached out by somebody from Google. I worked as an organizer, 2 people, grown a community in 3 years, not 3 years, 2.5 years, 3,000 people, part of my community right now. And the secret that we have study jam. So if you have any questions that you think are pertinent towards Cloud Study Jam, which is the title that we're going to talk today, you ask me questions. I try to answer my best. And I really want to do this session with the Q&A format just because I've learned through questioning. I've learned through speaking to people, right? So that's why I don't want to assume something and present to you guys. Rather, a lot of passionate have very basic questions towards some advanced questions around Cloud Study Jam. So you guys ask me a question and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and to give anyone an idea, Ramkumar is basically going to cover what you could be expecting from this session, what you should be walking away with. So if you have any questions in that area, please ask them in the Q&A section and we'll definitely answer them. I definitely have a couple questions to kind of start this off with. And you being a Google Developer Group lead organizer and you lead these events, and you've led many successful, like really successful cloud study jams. Why even do them? Like, what is the purpose of you hosting a cloud study jam?
That's a great question. Like, what is the purpose? And like, not the first time I'm getting this question, right? A lot of my participants have asked me the same question, and my answer has been the same, right? So, being a technology professional, I also do share a mindset of volunteers to do something towards our community, right? And oftentimes I did some volunteering and kind of I didn't find alignment, right? Like the paths where like I'm a technology professional, but I'm doing something as a volunteer, great. But then am I bringing the best value out of my technical skills? I always found the answer was no, right? So I wanted a platform where I align my career and my volunteering experience to the same path and where it can complement each other and I can bring the best value of myself, right? And Google gave me that opportunity. When they asked me like, hey, can you train people? I said, yes, I'm passionate to train people and any number could be done. And it was interesting when I was talking to Naveen in Miami, we said like, hey, we have done it for 50 and we're going to do it for 100. And he asked me like, can you do it for 500? And we said, yes, without thinking twice, right? And we literally did it like in the next month. So that mindset, like where you find an opportunity to serve the community, but also use your passion to enrich it. So it can complement both ways, right? So that's why I chose that as a platform to do that.
With the Cloud Study Jam, what are, number one, especially if this is their first time ever attending a Cloud Study Jam, what should they be doing to make sure they get the most out of this experience?
As a participant or as an
Yes,
organizer?
as a participant.
As a participant. So first and foremost thing, right? Like people get a little scared or they just kind of avoid when we talk about hands-on workshop, right? Like people, because usually the expectations are always high when we say that, because I've seen different kinds of participants. So it would be a fault on my end if I kind of generalize and stereotype all our participants in one bucket, right? So I've seen a variety of participants coming with different mindsets. So as an organizer, what I've found is like some are really passionate and they literally want to get it started. They don't want to hear lectures. They just want you to start your laptop, show me what we are going to do, right? Less patience, but more enthusiastic, right? And in the same mix of group, you're going to find people who are like going to be like the first time users, right? Like, hey, I'm here, I want to learn something about the technology. So you understand that you have a mix of participants waiting to hear from you. So as a participant, I would first put myself in a clear mindset, right? Like come with an open mindset. If you're a participant to a Cloud Study Jam, a tip that I've always found useful is try to talk to the hosting team, right? The organizing team by reaching the venue a little early, right? You might find some volunteer, because what I have found is like somebody who has come to me and said like, hey, I'm kind of like not a technology professional. I've had doctors and lawyers who have attended our Cloud Study Jam, and they've come to me and said like, this is my first time. Is there anything that I'm going to learn from this? I'm not sure. And I found that as a great opportunity to tell them like, hey, we'll make sure that you learn something out of here, right? So keeping that in mindset that, yes, we have some participants who are completely from a non-technology background. That helps us establish some member of or the participant, right? So we kind of give them some volunteer to be very focused and support them, right? So ask for somebody. As a participant, I'm going to ask like, hey, I need some help, right? I need some accommodation. It could be like a skill-based accommodation, or it could be anything, right? But talk to the organizing team by reaching the venue a little early. That help you get some best help during that day. And it also helps you to establish a relationship post the event as well. So if you have found something that you did not catch up, we have stayed until 8 p.m., right? Like our event ends at 4, but we have stayed until 8 p.m. to make sure that the last person in the room is completing. And that's why we always have like 90% success rate or 95% success rate out of 300 people who are attending. So it's your job as a participant, because you're spending hours from your personal life. You're spending some quality time away from your family and friends, trying to learn something. You're traveling all the way. So make the best use of your time and the best use of the organizing team. And what I've always found useful is like the team is really passionate to teach somebody. Either they do it directly, or they help some volunteer to connect with you, or they help you connect with someone from the Google. If you're some advanced technical person, you want to learn something around machine learning, there are multiple ways a Google community team can help you. The only suggestion is ask for help. Come with open mind and ask for help. I'm certain that you will get some help.
The last question that I'll ask before we move into our Cloud Study Jam is, what do you feel people should be walking away with today? Like, what should they make sure, like, okay, I've done X, Y, Z, like, this is my takeaway from today. What should that be top of mind for them?
First and foremost, keep your expectations minimal. I always suggest that, right? Like, don't expect, because if you look at a Cloud Study Jam, the Cloud Study Jam that we personally deliver at Toronto, it's a 5-hour long session. So you have to have that open mindset. Okay, I'm going to spend that 5 hours, but do I have to spend it like in one sitting? Absolutely not. So the takeaway from today's session, I know that you guys are going to get introduced to a Cloud Study Jam. So you're going to log in into QuickLab. So make sure that you're comfortable, convenient, and clear about what's a QuickLab platform and what's a Google Cloud platform. How does that differ? Where am I going to use my Google, my Gmail, personal Gmail account? Where am I going to use my lab credentials to log into the Google Cloud? Understand the basics. Simply understand the basics. Understand the platforms today. If you may not find the question suitable to you, absolutely fine. But know that there are several quests that might align to your interest. If you are all you have to take up from today's session is going to be, I'm going to get introduced to Quick Labs platform. I'm going to get introduced to a Google Cloud platform. I know that I'm going to get a 1 month free access to this Quick Lab platform. I'm not spending a single dollar. Somebody is here to show me how I'm going to learn. Somebody is going to enable me to learn. And now it's up to me to find what quest. When I say quest, it's comprising of 5 different labs. So is my interest around artificial intelligence? Yes, you have some quests that are very pertinent to that. If there is machine learning is my interest, you have some quests. If my interest is around BigQuery, you have a quest, which is 5 labs. So within a month, you can do as many quests as you can. There's no limitation, as many times as I can. So today's session, don't try to become a master, right? Learn how to use the tools, and then you can literally like sculpt what you want to, right? That's my suggestion for today's session for people who are going to look at the next session.
Thank you so much for being a part of this, Ramkumar. I know you've definitely added some help, and hopefully people are now ready to jump into their first Quick Lab, or the Quick Lab at least being led by us and getting them excited for what's to come. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Ramkumar.
All the best. All the best. Thank you all for the opportunity, Danny. Have fun, guys. It's going to be great. Study jam.
All right. Ramkumar, great big pieces of advice. And with that, we have, hey, I was just about to call it. All right. Sonakshi here. Sonakshi, why don't you introduce yourself and kind of give us an idea of what we're going to be doing today? You're muted. The most common phrase of 2021.
I'm sorry about that. Hey, everyone. Hey, everyone. My name is Sonakshi Pandey. I'm a customer engineer at Google. And today I'm so excited and happy that I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you a small crash course on BigQuery machine learning. So I'm going to first walk you through what BigQuery is, what BigQuery machine learning is, and then we are actually going to dive in. You're going to get access to your free trainings account, and then we are going to actually do the lab.
Perfect. And just to let everybody know, I will be in the chats and I'll be trying to help as much as I can. So if you have any questions, please reach out in that regard. And without further ado, Sonakshi, the floor is yours.
Sounds good.
Oh, something just happened there. Give me 1 second. All right, need you to share again. I don't know what just removed you. Sonakshi, you may have to share your screen. Yeah.
Okay, can you see my screen now?
I can see your screen, yes. I don't know what just happened, but okay.
Perfect. All good?
Yep.
Okay, let's get started then. Thanks, Danny. Now, for our agenda today, as I said earlier, I'm going to first walk you through what BigQuery is, since it is fundamental to understanding BigQuery machine learning. Then we are going to talk about BigQuery ML. I'll show you, how easy it is to use BigQuery ML to actually deploy your models and get a prediction out of it. Then we are going to work on getting you all access to free GCP accounts where you can execute labs for the rest, like for one full month. And towards the end, we'll start with the actual, it's time to put the knowledge that you've gained to actual practice by doing the hands-on lab. So let me get started. But before I get started, I wanted to see if do you know what a data warehouse is? And if you do, can you please put it in the chat, just so that I get a feeling about where the audience is, whether you understand data warehouse or not. Can you put it in the chat about what a data warehouse is? Anyone? Okay, so let me actually, start by telling you what is a data warehouse and what is BigQuery. So a data warehouse is a central repository for information that is analyzed to make business decisions or to make any decisions. So what happens is, consider it to be this one-stop shop where data comes in from multiple, data sources like relational databases, non-relational databases, real-time databases. Data comes in, and now this data, to make meaning out of the data, we need to analyze it. That is where the data warehouse comes into picture. It is that central information repository where you can analyze your data. That's number one. Data warehouses are generally used by data scientists, data engineers, decision makers to actually analyze the data and get meaning out of the data. So BigQuery, Google BigQuery is Google Cloud's fully managed data warehouse, which is used to analyze data. And it has several built-in features like machine learning that we are going to see today in today's lab. We can do geospatial analysis, and we can also do business intelligence with help of BigQuery. And BigQuery is scalable. It allows you to query terabytes of data in seconds and petabytes of data in minutes. So that's how quick BigQuery is with respect to analysis. And BigQuery is a serverless platform. And when I say serverless, what I mean is you as a customer of BigQuery or the customers of BigQuery are not responsible for managing any infrastructure that goes behind storing the data and doing compute on the data. All of that infrastructure management is done by Google Cloud. You as a customer can simply log in and start using the service without having to worry about any infrastructure management. So I hope this gave you an understanding of what BigQuery is. Long story short, BigQuery is Google Cloud's enterprise data warehouse solution. Just keep that in mind. Now I wanted to quickly touch upon what is BigQuery ML. So let's first start by understanding what a typical machine learning workflow looks like, right? So consider that customers have streaming and batch data. This data comes into the BigQuery, it lands into BigQuery. Now, once you have your data that comes into your repository, what do? The data that always comes in, not all the data is usable, not all the data is important. There are some irrelevant stuff in your data as well. So that is when you actually do pre-processing, where you rename some fields, you remove some fields, you delete some columns, you delete irrelevant rows. So there's a lot of processing that happens. But like after that is done, your data is kind of ready for putting it into this machine learning stage where you can start doing machine learning on top of your data, right? So to do machine learning, there are three stages. The first one is you export the data. And when I say export, what I mean is, let's say that your data, your streaming or batch data came into BigQuery, and now you want to do machine learning on top of that data. That's when you will export the data from BigQuery to your machine learning system, right? So you'll export that data. So that is one first step. Now the challenge here is data governance, and the reason I say that is because when you are moving your data, companies have to think about data governance, whether the data is encrypted in transition or not, whether the data is encrypted in rest or not, whether it is complying with the countries or with the continents policies or not. So there's a lot of thought process that goes behind exporting the data. Once the data is exported, you need to train your machine learning model. And what happens currently, to train a machine learning model, you need to code, you need to know Python, you need to know R. And that is when you'll be actually able to train a model. And to train a model, you need resources, you need computing power, right, to do that. So when you are actually training the model, you need to manage those resources, those infrastructure as well. And the last stage is you are deploying the machine. Now you have a trained machine learning model, you're deploying it to a system where you want to get actual predictions from the model. So then the question is, where do I host it? How do I scale when the incoming requests come in? How do I manage that infrastructure? So like these are a few challenges that go in actually deploying a ML workflow. Now let me show you how BigQuery ML simplifies this. So BigQuery ML takes care of all the three aspects: export, train, and deploy. All the three aspects of training your machine learning model. So for the first one, when it comes to exporting your data is already in BigQuery, and you are actually doing ML in place. You're not actually exporting the data anywhere. So that's why it's already taken care by BigQuery, right? So it's already there, it's just in place. The second thing is training your model. BigQuery ML takes care of creating and training your model and at the same time it is also responsible for managing the resources that go behind training the model. So that work is taken care by BigQuery. With respect to deployment, you can deploy your model in BigQuery, or you could export your model to to an object store and use it for online prediction. So BigQuery basically makes the ML workflow. It just simplifies the ML workflow. Now, to tell you more about BigQuery ML, so like if you'll take one thing out of today's presentation, it should be this: BigQuery ML allows you to train and deploy models with the use of simple SQL statements. This should be your takeaway from today's presentation. Okay. So using simple SQL statements, you can actually, create your model. So as you can see on the PPT, there is a simple create model line. And using this one line, you can train deep learning models. You can train time series models. You can train linear and logistic regression models. So with just a simple line and using SQL syntax, you can do that. Other than that, you can also, using a simple one line command, you can actually deploy that model and use it for production as well. So basically what BigQuery ML is doing is, we are trying to democratize machine learning by making it easy and accessible for not only data scientists but all other personas to come in and deploy machine learning models. So yeah, I mean, this is what BigQuery ML is. Now, I wanted to quickly touch upon a few capabilities that will demonstrate the power of BigQuery ML. Okay, so those of you who are very familiar with machine learning probably know what I'm going to talk about. But you can do classification. So classification is a process where, given the input data, a classifying label is attached to your data. So for example, classify whether your email is spam or not. This is one example. So you can do classification. You can use classification to you can create multiple machine learning models that do classification for you. Not only classification, we also support regression. Regression is one where your machine learning model is actually giving you a prediction of a real or a continuous value. So for example, predict what is the house rate going to be in 2023 or 2024. So you can do regression with the help of BigQuery. And not only classification and regression, we also support multiple things like k-means clustering, time series forecasting, anomaly detection. And apart from all these machine learning models, BigQuery allows you to do model ops as well. So when I say model ops, what I mean is you can import your TensorFlow model, import your TensorFlow model that you've trained outside. You can export models which are trained in BigQuery and use it for your own predictions. You can use stuff like explainable AI to understand the results of your machine learning model. So this is just to give you the complete capability, complete set of things that come packed into this term called BigQuery ML. So I hope by now you know what is BigQuery Enterprise Data Warehouse. You know what is BigQuery ML. And now let's get into getting you account access. So to get access to your accounts, I would request everyone to go to this URL, and let me drop it in the chat as well. Go to this URL and just fill in the sign up form. 1 second. Okay. Let me know if you're able to access the sign-in form. Hey, Tavia or someone, can you verify if you got my message and you're able to access the link?
Yeah, we've shared the link before this, so you should be good to go.
We should be good. So is everyone signed in?
We're monitoring the chat, so if anybody has any issues, we'll keep track of that and link with them there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So let me move ahead. So once you fill the sign in form, this is the form, this is the link to the form that I shared. Once you fill in this form, you should receive an email similar to like this, which will give you a link to the Google Cloud Skill Boost platform. And once you have logged in, let me show you how to get access to this particular lab, or let me share the link to this lab. So this is the link to the lab that I'm going to refer today. Let me know if all of you have been able to land here with me so far. Okay, so let me get started. Let's get started with the lab. So in today's lab, what we are going to do is we are going to use Google's analytics sample data set that has millions of records to analyze, like millions of records for Google merchandise store. And in this particular lab, we are going to use that data to create a model that predicts whether a visitor who visits the website will make a transaction or not. Okay, so that is what we are going to do in today's lab. Now let me first give you a quick walkthrough, and then we will take a look at all the steps one by one. Okay, so first what we are going to do is we are going to press the start lab button, and we are going to get started with this lab. So we'll start the lab first. Now after starting the lab, the first thing we will do is we will create a data set. So in BigQuery, a data set is a container that stores your tables, views, and your machine learning models. So we will create a data set which will hold our machine learning model. That is step number one. Step number two is we will then create our machine learning model. We'll create our model and we will train our model. And you will see how easy it is with the help of one command, how actually a model gets trained. Then the next step is, after we create a model, the next step is we will evaluate the performance of that model. And again, you will see, how do we actually do that, and what do we get as output to understand how our model is performing. And the last step is we will actually use our model. This is where we will use our model to make predictions, whether in a country, how many sales will happen, or based on a visitor, how many sales will happen. So we will use our machine learning model. With that, should I get started? I'll get started. I hope most of you have, you've already reached here. So let me get started now. Okay, so the first thing you do for this lab is you'll first say start lab. And if something like this pops up, just say use subscription. So basically, when you log into your Cloud Skill Boost account, you will get a few credits here, and this lab is worth 1 credit. So once you actually complete a lab, you will have free monthly access to all the labs that are there in the Cloud Skill Boost portfolio. So just say that use my subscriptions and get here. So I hope all of you are here with me so far. So I think I've already given you an overview. We are going to analyze the Google's cloud merchandise store, and we are going to see whether a person, whether we will use our model to predict whether a visitor makes a transaction or not. So first, let's get started and let's get logged into our Google Cloud Console. So I'm going to click on this button. This is going to redirect me here to the Cloud Console. Ensure that this username matches the username that you've got here, right? So I'm going to put in the username, which is already entered here in this case, and I'm going to copy the password using this simple click, and I'm going to enter my password. And I am now logged in to my I'm now logged in, and I hope all of you were able to do this. Like after this stage, we are pretty much good to go, and we can get started with the BigQuery section about creating a data set. Let me know if you need a minute, or I can start with the next step. So Mrinali, can you just say like use your tokens and do next? So in so are you logged in into your Cloud Skill Boost account? Are you logged in? Because I got the same error yesterday, and the reason I got that error was because I was not logged in. So I want to ensure you are logged in. If not, I recommend log out from here, sign out, and sign back in, and let me know if you are able to open the lab then. Okay, so I will recommend you one thing. Can you sign out of your accounts? If can you just go here, just say sign out. Just follow me step by step, and I'll get you there. So I hope you are all signed out by now. Okay, signed out. Now let's sign in again. Let's sign in again, and you are going to use the email. Oops. Actually, you know what? Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to say start learning. So it brought me here. For this code, I didn't do anything. I just had to, do this simple captcha, and I did a submit here. And yeah, I do need to sign. I'm sorry about that. Let me quickly put in my email. So just log in again using the same email you used to create your account. Give me 1 second. Let me get logged in. Oops. Wow. Okay. Maybe I did a Google sign in. Yeah. Sorry. I did a Google sign in, and that's how I signed in. Okay. So I hope you're on this landing page. Okay. If you're here, go to the catalog. No, hold on. Just follow my lead. Go to the catalog and just say create ML model. Just search it here. Search create ML model, and it will land you here, right? Okay, it will bring you here. So one request I can do is like just open the link that I sent in the chat. Just open this link. So this is a quest where they teach you how to create ML models with BigQuery ML. So go to the lab from here. Open the first lab in that quest that I sent, and it will bring you here. And when you start a lab, this should start without giving you any errors this time. Let me know if you're able to follow that and if you're able to get there. Was everyone able to start the lab? So when you log in and when you look at your account, what does it say? It already has a few credits. Does it show you how many some credits here when you log in? I remember when I did this yesterday, I had some 8 or 9 credits to begin with. Okay, so if you followed my link, click on the first lab here. This is the link that I sent. Go to the first lab here. Let me do end lab and let me see if I get the same error or not. So when I do start lab, okay, it shows this screen and just say use subscription. So when you say use subscription, it will use, or maybe use credits in your case. So it will use your existing credits, and it will land you here. Let me know if you're able to follow that. If you're not able to follow that, what we will do is let me walk you through the lab regardless. Take a look at how it looks like in my console, and then probably you will be able to do it after my session ends. Because you have this account for a month. For 1 month you have free access to all the trainings in the portfolio, and you should be able to follow the lab. So it says 9 credits for few, 0 credits for few. So if you have 9 credits, you should be able to start this lab. Yeah, you just need 1 credit. You're right. You just need 1 credit to launch this lab. Anyways, let me get started. So I'm really sorry if you are not able to start the lab, but please follow through as I'm doing it, because I'm sure you will learn something out of it. So let me start now. So we have already completed the setup and requirement stage of the lab. Now next what we are going to do is we are going to create a data set. So for that, what we will do is first I'm logged into my cloud console. First, what we will do is we will go to BigQuery. We will go to BigQuery, and this is what the BigQuery UI looks like in our case. Okay. So we will go to BigQuery, and the first thing we need to do is we need to create a data set. And as I was saying earlier, a data set is a container for storing your tables, your views, and your machine learning models. So first we need to create this holder for storing your machine learning models. So we are going to create a data set. So the way you do that is you go to the BigQuery console, and here click on create data set. Put in your dataset name. For the purpose of this lab, I'm not going to choose any location. I'm going to leave it to default, and I will just say create dataset. Oops. Okay, I'm sorry about the problem. Okay, let me re-log in into the console. Let me re-log in. So, okay, console. Okay, so I'm logged in again. Sorry for the confusion. So you'll get the same pop-up screen. Just agree. Let's go back to BigQuery real quick. So what we were doing is we were at the stage where we were creating a BigQuery. Okay, so we are at a stage where we were creating the BigQuery data set, right? So I'm going to create data set. I'm going to give the ID that was mentioned here. Please try to use the same details which are prompted in the lab, because we are going to use this while we create models as well. So ensure you're using the same variables. But yeah, I mean, we'll do create data set. For some reason, this is not loading. Let me see if I'm able to create data set now. Wow, the lab does not want to work today at all. Shoot. Okay, I don't want to do this. Let me try opening my console. Let me end this lab. Let me start this lab again to ensure that my account is working as expected. Okay, it says your quota has been exceeded for this lab. Oh no. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me stop sharing, and let me fix this. Let me fix this. Give me some time. I'll quickly log in using a different account, and let me see if that works. Meanwhile, you still have chance to fix your logins. If it is working for you, please go ahead with the lab. Follow these steps, and please go ahead. I will catch up with you in a minute. Okay, so I noticed something. If you directly log into the Cloud Skill Boost platform, it will show you 0 credits. So in case you were seeing zero credits, that is because you've not filled the December free training form. In case if you're still seeing 0 credits, I request you to fill this form, get a link in your email, and use that link to log into the labs. So I just created my account with a different email address. I'm waiting for my own link to come in my email. If I'm not able to get access, I will still walk you through the steps of the lab. I'll explain you what the commands stand for, and you can still execute the lab in your own time after this session has ended.
So just coming on here to share a couple things. So for those that are still having issues, please, I don't know how you're not getting the credit. It doesn't make sense as long as you're doing everything correctly. But if you've signed in and you've already requested that, please reach out to the customer service team, and they can kind of jump on that. I believe Tavia shared the email address, and I'm looking for it. Yeah, so support@quicklabs.com, and they will like jump in to make sure that everything is good on their end. One thing that I would kind of tell you, Sonakshi, is if you want to use your like corporate account, just so that way we can walk them through it. I think that
Yeah,
would be wise here.
I
Just so that
actually
they can reference this.
I'm getting the same error. So I'm getting the quota exceeded error for this lab. Maybe I tried it too many times. So unfortunately,
Oh,
I'm not even able to do it with my corp account. That's exactly what I was trying. Now, in that case, let me walk everyone through the lab step by step. This lab just
sure.
has 4 steps, which is just four set of commands. The screenshots given on the website are pretty explanatory. What is important here is let me walk you through the command so that you at least learn how BigQuery ML would have done it for you. So give me 1 second. I'll share my screen. I'll go back to sharing my screen in a minute. Okay, so I hope everyone is looking at the skill boost account. Let me go back here, and I really apologize for the inconvenience for not being able to show this to you and work with you live with this. But if you're executing this lab, just follow my lead and I'll be able to help you. Okay, so the first thing we do is we create a data set, right? And I was saying earlier, a data set is a container for your tables, views, and your machine learning model. So that's why the first thing we go here, we go to the console, we go to the explorer, we click on the account, and we say create a data set, and we name our data set BQML underscore lab. So once you give your dataset name, leave the location to default, just press the create dataset button, it will create your dataset for you. Okay, so that's the first step. Now when you say your dataset is created, what you created is you created that container wherein your table or your machine learning model will sit. Okay, so we created a container. Now next, let's go and see how to create a model. So what you do is you go to the BigQuery editor, which is, if you're looking at this screenshot, there will be a plus sign here towards the right that will say open editor. Okay, so you need to open the BigQuery editor, and you simply need to copy this command and paste it on the console. You need to copy paste this command, and this command will create the model for you. Now let me walk you through the command step by step. Okay, so here is where the magic of BigQuery ML comes into picture. Okay, so with a simple command, this simple one line, create or replace model and model name, like this is the data set name dot model name. This simple one line actually creates the model for you, trains the models for you, and in the background does all the resource management for you. This is that simple command. So basically we are saying create or replace model, dataset name / model name. So we are naming our model sample model in this case. So our model is called sample model. And in options, you put in, now options is where you specify options related to your model. In our case, we are going to use logistic regression, which is a binary classification, whether we want to know transaction happened, yes or no. That's what we are trying to do. So we are going to specify our model type as logistic regression. And this is a simple select statement where, as you will see here, the total transactions field from the actual table, the total transaction field is, we've said that this is a label. So when this label field is encountered by BigQuery, what they understand is this is the field that the model needs to predict. Rest all the other fields from your table, they go in as inputs. So what we've said is we want transactions to be a label, because we want to understand if the transaction is 0, that means no transactions happened. If the transaction is not null, if it is 1, 2, 50, 100, we want to keep it as 1. So 0 is no transactions, 1 is a lot of transactions. Okay. So what we've done is we are saying that, consider the transactions as a label, a binary label, which will be 0 or 1. Consider the operating system of the device, consider whether the device is mobile or not, consider the country where the purchase happened, consider the page views. So all these fields, apart from transactions, go in as your inputs to your BigQuery model. Okay. And then we are specifying from, so this is the data set name and this is the table name. So we are saying from this particular table where we've given, so what we've done is we've given a time frame where we are saying that between August 1st, 2016 to June 30th, 2017, use the entries in these dates, within these dates, and we are giving a limit of 100K. If you were not using BigQuery ML, this is what your command would look like. A simple SQL command, right? Select from where something and limit is this. This is a simple SQL command. You just added 2 more lines to your simple SQL command, and this creates a ML model for you. This is as simple. This is the simplest way of creating a machine learning model in BigQuery ML using your simple SQL syntax, right? So when you say run, it will show you that, the model is running. And once your model is ready, you will be able to see, details about your model. So you'll be able to click on it and you'll be able to look at, how many iterations ran, what was the training data loss, and some more metrics about training your data. So you'll be able to see all of this, right? So this is the first thing. So now our model is created. Now the second thing we do is we evaluate your model. You need to understand whether your trained model, how does it perform, right? So that's when we do model evaluation. So the way we evaluate a model in BigQuery is, so again, here, as you can see for the command, it's a simple SQL command. And in the from clause, we are saying that we are using the syntax called ml.evaluate. This is the syntax used to evaluate your machine learning models. So you're saying ML evaluate, you're giving the model the dataset name / the model name. And again, you are seeing we are using the same select clause, except what is different here is your date is after the previous date. So previously we trained our data based on data from August 2016 to June 2017. And here we are taking the data from July to August. So we are using the data for the next month right after our training data, right? Because we don't want to use the same date as the training data, because then it would be kind of cheating on your exam, where you're giving the model stuff that you already trained it on. We want to give it new data, right? So this is how you evaluate a model. So in our case, since we've used logistic regression, you will see the output like this. Your output will look something like this. When you execute that command that I just showed you, your output will look like this, where you will see precision, you will see recall, you will see accuracy. So all these fields, these are all metrics related to logistic regression. So for example, precision means precision identifies the frequency with which your model was correct when it was predicting a positive class. For example, your log loss is a function of logistic regression, and which basically measures how your model's predictions are, how far your model's predictions are from the correct labels, so on and so forth. So like as you get more in depth into machine learning, understand the characteristics and metrics around your model, around model performance, these all things will start making sense. What I want you to understand here is, look at the accuracy. For accuracy, you will see some number which is 0.7, 0.8 something. So your accuracy is the fraction of predictions that the model got right, and you're seeing here that your model accuracy is 0.98 or 97, which is pretty good. It's pretty fantastic, right? So this is where this is in the evaluation stage, where you try to see what is the actual performance of your model, how is your model performing. So once you've evaluated the performance of your model, once you're happy with that, you actually start using the model, right? So for using your model, again, as you will see here, all SQL statements, a simple select clause. So what we are doing here is, now in the first use case in using the model is, we want to predict per country how many purchases will happen. Okay, that's what we want to predict. So what we're going to do here is, we say select, we will give country because we want purchases per country, and then we will say as a next column as the predicted label, the sum of predicted labels. Now keep in mind, when we trained this model, we said that this predicted label will either be 0 or either it will be 1, where 0 indicates that a transaction happened, 1 indicates that the transaction did not happen, right? So that's what we are considering. Now in this case, we are going to take a sum of that columns. So what this essentially will give you, country wise, it will give you the sum of all the total transactions that have happened for a particular country. So basically, that's what you're seeing. That's what you give in the select clause. From this is where you're telling your model to actually do prediction. The simple one-liner is ml.predict, and then you are giving your select clause wherein you're giving the same fields that we specified in the while training our model, the same inputs. And again, date wise, you will see that we are doing it from July to August 2017. That is the date frame that we've given. So once you copy this command and once you run it in your account, you will see something like this. You will see countries, and you will see total predictions per countries, like total predicted purchases per countries. So this was so simple. You actually created a model, you trained it, and you are using it now to predict that, uh, based on previous 1 year's data from 2016 to 17. Based on that data, you've taught your model, and your model is now saying that United States there will be around 215 purchases. So this is where, it's giving you the number of purchases per country: United States, Canada, Singapore, Japan, India, etc., etc. And similarly, you can also get purchases per user. The simple difference between the first query and this one is, in the earlier query, we selected based on country and we grouped by using the country. In this case, we are going to select based on visitor ID because we want to get the results per user. So we're going to select based on the visitor ID, and we are going to group by based on visitor ID. And as you can see here, once this command runs successfully, you will be able to see that for every visitor you will be able to see total number of purchases. So and again, this is prediction. This is what your ML model has predicted, that this will happen, these many purchases will happen per user. And with that, I think that is pretty much it. That is pretty much your end of the lab. I would recommend, like, every time you are running a section, just click here and check your progress. This quickly does like an API call to check whether you were successfully able to create, evaluate, or predict from your model or not, just as a sanity check. And towards the end, you can test your understanding of the fundamentals, or like of the concepts we saw today. So let me know if if you put it in the chat, BigQuery is a fully managed enterprise data warehouse that enables super fast SQL queries. Is it true or false? Can anyone guess whether it is true or false? Can you put your answers in the chat?
Hey, Sonakshi, if you can give it a try, we've just got like confirmation from the Quick Lab team that you should be able to start the lab now on your end.
Okay, let me give that a shot real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. So I'm logged in into. Should I log in with my Corp ID?
Either one should work, but go ahead, try that just to make sure.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me log in with my Corp ID. So I am back. At least I was able to open this. Now let me see if I am able to log in and access stuff or not. Looks like I was able to get into the console. So yes, that's great. Let me see if I'm able to create a data set or not. Okay, so I'm going and I'm saying create a data set. It was called BQML something. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so looks like I was able to create the data set and it is working. So Danny, I know that, how are we doing with respect to time? Should I quickly walk them through everything on my console, or what would you recommend here as a next step? So since Danny is not responding, let me quickly take this opportunity to show you and quickly run the lab with you here, since I have some time. Okay, so yeah, so first step, we created a data set. This is what the data set looks like here. Yeah,
Yeah,
Danny.
I don't know why it wasn't working, but I was saying just do a quick overview and then we should be good to go. Like, quick things, nothing, not going through the entire lab again, but
Yeah.
just a quick overview to give them some tips and things like that. And I think you should be good.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so to do like a quick thing, I'll just run one command just to, walk everyone through what it is looking like. So this is your BigQuery editor. This is what your editor looks like. And in this editor, I've pasted this command and I've pressed run. Now, as soon as I press run, it will in the background start creating the model for me. And this is amazing because you can actually take a look at your model while it is getting trained. So ensure that you've seen it. So like once the model is available here, I will be able to go to the model and you will be able to see in every iteration what was your model performance and how BigQuery has trained your model for you. So really not sure. Okay, let's wait. Let's give it a few more minutes. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes to complete the stage. But while my model is getting trained, I want to know from all of you what is the answer to the second question here. Which option best describes BQML? What BQML does? So is it A? It creates machine learning models that you can export. Does it create and execute machine learning models using standard SQL queries? Does it create machine learning models in Python and Java? Or does it exports data from warehouse, reformats, and executes the models? Can you put in your responses in the chat? Like, what do you think? What is the best option that describe what BQML does? So as a takeaway, if you remember my previous presentation, the answer is create and execute machine learning models using standard SQL queries. And this is one takeaway that you should have from today's presentation, that BigQuery ML allows you to create and execute models using simple SQL queries. Now, I think my query is still executing. Let me give it a few more time to complete. It's not yet ready. Okay. Yeah, so this is looks like my model was ready. So this is what the sample model query created, right? So as you can see here, you'll be able to see details related to your model, and you'll be able to see all these additional things as well, like actual iterations, L1 regularization, L2 regularization. In the training tab, you'll be able to see stuff like your loss, what was the duration of iterations, what was the learn rate of your model. In the evaluation section, you have a few more, a few more metrics with relation to training your model. And in schema, this is the schema that we specified in the select clause. So as you can see here, it took your predicted label field to be the model label, and you see that all the other fields were actually inputs to your model, which came in the features section for your model. So once you've created a model, I recommend that play around, take a look. And one more quick hack you can do is, in your query, instead of logistic reg, you can simply say linear, just add the word linear regression, and just say run. So this will now create, like, it will basically replace your sample model with, instead of logistic regression, it will replace it with a linear regression, and you'll be able to do repeat the same steps. But when you actually do prediction, you will be able to see the fields that were specified. So if you go to the evaluate model section, you'll be able to see all these fields if you are using linear regression model. So you can, if you are able to go through this lab with logistic regression, I recommend try it out with linear regression as well, and try to see what is different, whether whether the outputs for both were same, whether they were different, how different they were. You'll be able to notice such stuff. Okay, with that, I think that's pretty much it on my end. Danny, this is pretty much like I already walked them through the steps of how they would actually create a model. So I think that's pretty much it on my end.
Fantastic. And we have a couple questions, if maybe we can address those. And so what is the difference between data warehouse and data lake?
Okay, so the difference between data warehouse and data lake is, a data warehouse is a centralized repository that stores your structured data. So when I say structured data, think about tables. Your data has a structure. Your data has, and when I say structure, I mean it has a fixed set of columns. So for example, if you have your customer database, you have customer name, customer age, customer address, payment information, blah, blah, right? So a data warehouse stores structured data. A data lake, on the other hand, as the name suggests, it's a lake. It is a collection of structured, semi-structured, and non-structured data. So to give you an example, let's say that you have, for example, just consider Instagram, right? So in Instagram, your people actually upload images. So images is non-structured data. It is just an object that gets stored into your store. So things like object, things like JSON data, XML data, all these data is characterized semi-structured, structured, and structured sits in the data lake. So your data lake is a collection of all these all the types of data, while your data warehouse specifically focuses on structured data. One more thing that I would like to point out is your data warehouse allows you to analyze your structured data and understand the patterns from the data, whereas in a data lake, once the data, any type of data has landed there, you can do a huge, there are huge plethora of use cases that a data lake can satisfy. So for example, you want to do image classification, yeah, sure, pick up images from your data lake. For example, if you want to do some kind of machine learning, or you want to do some kind of text, you want to analyze forms and you want to pick out text words, all those cases the data will actually sit in the data lake, and those are the use cases where you will use a data lake versus a data warehouse. Does that make sense?
Sure. Follow-up question. To train the model, do we need to know specific languages, or can we just use SQL queries?
So if you want to train your model outside BigQuery ML, of course you need to know R, or you might need to know Python and other languages out there. But if you're using BigQuery ML, you can use simple SQL syntax to train your model. So just SQL, nothing else.
Okay. And BigQuery almost seems like AutoML. Is this like a fair comparison?
BigQuery and AutoML. So BigQuery ML, the idea here with respect to in comparison to AutoML was to allow people or practitioners who already know SQL to take it one step forward and train your machine learning models in the same platform, because BigQuery storage is super cheap and a lot of customers are already using it to land their data. Then just why not use the same platform to run your machine learning as well using simple SQL statements? Whereas with respect to AutoML, it is also useful and it also allows you to train the data. But in that case, you have to think about how you want to export data there. How do you want to actually, what kind of model you want to use to train your data, and then those 3 stages that I described earlier in the presentation.
Fantastic. I see the chat. People are saying, thanking you for the session. They say you give some really great explanations. And I think for the most part, I feel like this has been a complete lesson. So thank you so much for being a part of this, Sonakshi. And I really enjoyed this. And hopefully, we can bring you back for another event and we can do some more cloud study jams together.
Yeah, sure. It was a pleasure, walking you all through the lab. I really hope the next time we meet, my lab works and I'm able to walk you through without any issues. But I had so much fun. All the best, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. It was amazing having all these sessions together. And now, we want to open the floor for some networking. So if you check this tab up here at the top, you're going to see a networking tab. Inside the networking tab, you're going to find multiple tables. Not SQL tables, but tables where you can kind of hang out, talk to people, chat, share your screen, share your cameras, and converse and meet other people. So if networking is something you want to do, I'm definitely going to be in the networking tables hanging out. So come hang out with us. We'll talk. We'll chat, get to know each other, and hopefully make some great connections with some incredible people that are here. So check out the networking table, and we'll go there. For everyone watching this on YouTube, this will be the end of the stream for you. But thank you so much for hanging out with us and getting access to the quick labs. And I saw the chat being very active as well. So definitely thank you. Huge shout out to all of you. But for everybody else, the networking tables will be at this tab right up there. So hit that tab and hit a table, and I'll see you all over there.